You're not gonna make it. No, you ain't gonna make it. You're not gonna make it, but you can. Hey, welcome to the You're Not Gonna Make It podcast, where I discuss topics that may or may not prevent you from making it. I'm your host, Kevin. At the time of recording, I recently came back from a trip to Italy, and it's made it very obvious what the next topic should be. That is American food, if you can call it food. If you don't live in America, the United States specifically, let me explain something to you. The American food industry does not give a shit about being healthy. Even if the labeling says so, they don't actually care. Most of the food, and the percent is growing, is becoming processed. And no, this is actually not because the American food industry wants to kill us by injecting chemicals into us. It's just cheaper and faster to make food that's trash. That's all it is for profit and speed. It's not a malicious thing against everyone. It's just cheaper. And that's often how they try to sell you this garbage food. It's faster and cheaper. For the cost of convenience, you could get cancer today. You can get heart disease sooner than ever before. It's really dire over here, honestly. There's fast food everywhere, the worst food possible. Everything's just drizzled with cheese and bacon and all this kind of nonsense. You may be thinking, but Kevin, of course there's good food in America. Well, I guess so. If you go directly to a farm, even then, the soil in America is kind of mediocre compared to some other countries. Even the places that you go to in America for the healthiest food that the average person can get, if they don't live next to a farm or a farmer's market, would be Whole Foods. This is what most people like to believe, right? When I came back from Italy, I had some cherry tomatoes here in America, and they had about 20% of the taste that the cherry tomatoes I had in Italy had. Now, my girlfriend previously, she had grown some cherry tomatoes of her own a few years ago, and those were really flavorful. Same with the peppers she grew. But what you buy in stores, in America anyway, United States, is just completely watered down and flavorless. Flavorless, at least compared to what it could be. Because when I went to Italy, all the food I had, I could taste every single ingredient. It was so flavorful, so good. So according to my taste buds, their ingredients are fresher. From the time when that vegetable or whatever it is comes from the ground and onto your plate, there's less bullshit happening in Italy. Same goes for Japan as well. And those are the only two countries I've been to outside of North America. So I'm going to focus on that, but mostly on Italy because I was just there. I have been to the Caribbean, but I don't remember that. That was over 20 years ago, so I can't comment. Even the grocery stores in Italy had better stuff, in my opinion. You get a pie in an American grocery store, and it's like, wow, this sure has a lot of sugar and syrup on it. But when you eat a pie or a tart, what have you, in Italy, it's like, wow, this is flavorful. I can actually kind of taste the fruit. Now, I don't know if they legit put actual cherries or whatever on their tarts in Italy as well, or if they use some kind of jam equivalent, whatever. But man, it tastes real. It tastes more real, I'll say. Realer, whatever. Can't speak English, speaking half Italian recently. Mi dispiace. But while the grocery stores in Italy, they have some decent stuff. What kids are growing up with in America, in the schools, it's just complete dog shit. It might have changed. I haven't been to a school in a while because I'm not a pedophile and I'm in my 30s. But I remember them giving you just I don't even know, like a little carton of milk, the worst pizza you could have. And I legitimately don't even remember, like some mashed potatoes maybe? I legitimately don't remember what I ate in elementary school. I do remember in middle school, you can separately buy some French fries and pay a little extra and they douse it in cheese. That was cool. That was great to give kids access to. They're not going to abuse that at all. Honestly, even as an adult, if you want to eat healthy or even eat decently, it's a bit tough. I remember me waiting for Jiffy Lube to rape me in the ass without lube, with my car, costing me hundreds of dollars, making me wait like 4 hours. I was hungry because I was stranded out there waiting for my car to be fixed. So I walked around. There was one Latino restaurant. I'm like, oh, that sounds cool. Closed for hours. I'm like, all right, I guess I'll walk around, see what's around. What did I find? McDonald's, White Castle, and a gas station. Sure as hell wasn't going to eat at McDonald's or White Castle. So I walked in the gas station. Maybe they got an apple. I don't know. Probably not, but let's check it out. What did I find? Of course, just the worst shit, the saltiest bullshit, completely fabricated food. This complete dog shit in the shape of cylinders or whatever. I'm like, I think I'll die if I eat any of this. So I guess I'll starve for a few hours. But that's me. I have higher standards for myself. The average person they'll eat it, whatever. They'll eat that shitty snack. But a lot of people subsist off that stuff. They live off Doritos. Soda gives them a life. And that's a problem in America. It's a huge problem. That's part of what makes everyone so fat, because all the food is very processed, which means it doesn't fill you up. You get all the calories, but you get almost none of the satiety. You're still hungry. You basically ate calorie-dense air. For the most part, that's what it is. Of course, I'm talking mostly about snacks, but a lot of American food is basically glorified snacks. If you want to eat out, you can pay something overpriced, then pay tax, then be pressured into paying a tip, so you're paying like double tax. One of the great things about Europe is that when you buy something, the tax is included in the price. And they don't really, they're not like, hey, tip over there. So when you buy something, you know what it costs and you're good. When you get something in America, you don't really know how much it's going to cost, because you got to get hit with that double tax of, tax and tip. And it's just, you don't get much bang for your buck, to be quite honest with you. It's just not great quality. It's fine. It's good at best. If you disagree, I don't think you've been outside of the United States. Seriously, I've had foods in Japan and Italy that I've had in America, and they taste far, far, far better in those countries, because the ingredients they use are just fresher. Now, the exception is sushi. Sushi is basically the same in both countries, but I don't know how you can really improve on rice and raw fish, really. Although, there have been a few times in America I've had some of the Japanese cuisine, and the rice is kind of old. And I'm like, what the fuck? Come on. But in Japan, every time you get anything with rice, even from a 7-Eleven, oh my God, moist. Tastes like someone just cooked it, put it in the fridge. Incredible. I don't know how they keep that up. But over here, it costs too much to keep that shit up. So fuck you. Eat slop. Here's some fun stats. 60% of calories in the American diet come from ultra-processed foods. That means we mostly don't eat real food over here. Very cool. Our body loves that. The average American, this was actually a new information to me, but it's not surprising. The average American consumes 3,600 calories daily. For reference, 3,500 calories is a pound of weight. Now, obviously, if you're eating that much, that's not excess. If you eat 3,500 on top of what your body needs, then you'll gain the pound a day. So it's not like every American is gaining a pound a day, although it looks like it. Based on this, they're gaining, I don't know, like 2 pounds a month, maybe? Pound a month, depends. Either way, 3,600 per day. That's a lot. If you're not in the gym, if you're not pumping iron, that is a lot. But again, I'm a manlet. I'm not even 5'8", so it's different for me. If you're like 6'4", I don't know. Maybe you're 3,000. I don't know. I haven't done the math in a while. 75% of Americans exceed recommended sodium intake. And this is because a lot of our foods have a lot of salt in them. That is to hide the lack of flavor, which is odd because I feel like if you want to hide the lack of flavor, you can make things spicier. But a lot of things in America, when they're labeled as spicy, it's not spicy. So I don't know what they're doing here. Apparently, fast food restaurants serve portions that are 2 to 5 times larger than they were in the 1950s, 70 years ago. Jesus Christ, 70 years ago. It's probably because we're bigger and our appetites are bigger. But this sucks. This really sucks, especially for the children, because I don't really care about kids. I hate them, to be honest with you, but they don't deserve this. With how many ultra-processed, convenient foods we have, you can imagine a lot of parents are just like, yeah, sure, I'll give them chips, this garbage shit, these bars of God knows what. Yeah, it's convenient, it's fast, it's cheap, of course. I mean, it's not so cheap anymore, but you know what I mean. A lot of parents will prefer that than cooking or whatever. And I understand somewhat. You don't have time to cook. You're too busy slaving away to get no fucking money because you live in America. So I get it. But for the sake of children, I think we got to keep in mind when we see these things, we got to remember it's all just snack shit. If something is compressed into a bar or is weirdly colorful or something like that, it's not real. So you got to treat it as a snack. Better yet, you should treat it as candy and rarely touch it. And I'm talking all this shit about the American diet, but I used to live on it too. Well, I used to eat a bit better. My mother is from Latin America, so, I got some good food in there as well. But a lot of garbage too, because I wanted it, because I was fat. But there's a reason they call it the standard American diet. It's really depressing. You compare it to other countries and it's just fucked. As soon as I came back to America from Italy, I had a salad from airport. Now, I know, airport food, I know. But I bit into the lettuce and it's just, I told my girlfriend, this tastes like fucking cardboard. There wasn't flavor to it. And as well, a lot of people, they think I'm fucking weird. I don't like avocados. They're too creamy. The texture is too thick for it to not have flavor. I've always said that. People think I'm fucking weird. I've been called a fake Dominican for this. I don't care. They don't have flavor. Now in Italy, tried an avocado and I tasted something. Wow. That was even more eye-opening for me. So the fruits, they do have flavor. It's just that America has extracted them. That's very cool. Makes me feel very, very nice about living here. Very cool. So what can you even do about this shit? So you don't die at 54 of heart disease? Well, cook more. If you can, I would really, really, really recommend finding farmers markets around you because that might be the best that you can get. If you go to Whole Foods or Trader Joe's, you're getting something that's, above average than what the average American's getting. Oftentimes we get French bread from Trader Joe's or Whole Foods, but the bread from the farmer's market is insane. You can eat that with nothing because it's naturally good. And not in a sugary way, the way that America likes to fill up their bread with sugar. I mean, like, this bread tastes good. It just tastes good by itself. So I would really recommend, if you can, try a farmer's market out to get some good food. They cost a fuck ton, but it is cheaper than medical bills and a funeral. That got dark super quick, but that is a reality we're living here. Beyond that, I mean, shit, I talked a bit of shit about Whole Foods earlier, but yeah, it's still better than a lot of the stuff that you can get otherwise. If you think Whole Foods is, somewhat flavorless and not that great, go to your local fucking grocery store, man. It's tough out there. So that'd be my recommendation. Get the best ingredients you can as reasonably often as you can and cook when you can. That way you have pretty good control over what you're eating and you can make sure the quality is high. At least higher than the average person. Because the average person, they're just, I don't know what they're eating, but it's not food. Anyway, if you want to leave a 1-star review, dust off the Cheeto dust from your hands and write that review. If you want to eat better and live longer, give me a 5-star. That'd be pretty cool. Either way, leave me a comment. Let me know if you've been outside of America. I'm curious if you've seen the light. Either way, see you next time.